Hello, everyone. This is author, motivational speaker, and dating coach Matthew C. Horne, and I'm bringing you a video tonight titled, She Has to Be Predictable. But before we go any further, always know my videos in the dating space, they're inspired by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life, in addition to How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available at my website, www.matthewchorne.com. Get your copies. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and to continue to help me to get pushed up the algorithm so I can continue to bring you these elevated messages. I've enjoyed bringing these messages, and I enjoy your feedback. I'll engage with you. If you comment, you like, you subscribe, I'll engage with you. And let's get right to it. She has to be predictable. And this is a very inspired message. It's something I've been sitting on for a few days, and I needed it to come to a fullness, and I believe it's reached that place. I want to give you my best in this video. And like I said, it's inspired. It may go in some different directions that I'm not even aware of, but it's an inspired message. She has to be predictable. And the pervading theme of this video is that in order to protect your brilliance, you have to shore up your weakest places. In order to protect your brilliance, you have to shore up your weaknesses. To shore something up means to strengthen and secure. So a woman has to be predictable because in order to operate fully in your brilliance as a man, you have to be predictable to yourself. There are many men throughout history who have been brilliant. They've been dealt an incredible hand, and they've played that hand. They've made incredible contributions to mankind and to history. But one thing upended all of their efforts and all of their progress, and that was a piece of pussy. I have no other way to say it. No poothie tonight, pussy. And for brilliant men throughout history, probably some that you know, some that you've heard of, some that you've read about. For every brilliant man who fell short, it was a piece of pussy that messed his life up. It was a piece of pussy that shortened the contribution that he could give to humanity. It was a piece of pussy. And that's how your brilliance is often interrupted. So you can have all of the brilliance that you've been given. You can operate in that brilliance, but in order to be predictable and to have a predictable outcome, meaning that you fulfill the fullness of your potential, your calling, and your brilliance. In order to fulfill that, you have to shore up your greatest weakness. And what has been the greatest weakness to mankind? Pussy. Straight up. Meaning that you didn't have dick discipline, you made progress, and your progress was shortened and it was upended because you let the wrong piece of pussy into your life. No other way to say it. The wrong piece of pussy has robbed many great men of their brilliance and their contribution that they can make to mankind. It's been the wrong piece of pussy, man. And so she has to be predictable because for you to fulfill your brilliance and your genius and your greatness that you've been given, that you've made progress towards, for you to fulfill that, you have to be predictable. And let me just start right here. In order to get on the path to greatness and to experience symptoms of your greatness as a man, you have a level of discipline, you have a level of foresight, you have a level of commitment, you have a level of faith. So you have these attributes that match the pictures of brilliance and destiny that you're given. And that's how you begin to manifest these things. That's how you begin to walk in these things. Is that you were predictable. You gave a predictable amount of energy, focus, and discipline to whatever picture of brilliance that you were shown about yourself. And so you begin to walk in brilliance because you were predictable. You gave a steady and necessary level of brilliance, of commitment, of focus, of purpose, of faith, of drive. All of these attributes have to meet your brilliance in order for you to begin to see symptoms of your brilliance. But this can be upended when something interferes with your quest and your manifestation of your brilliance. Just because you begin to initially walk in something does not mean you're going to reach the full manifestation of it. And so you have to become predictable. You reach places of greatness because you've become predictable in terms of the effort and the commitment, the faith, everything that you had to put behind it. It was predictable. It was steady. And that steady means predictable. And so you had to be predictable to yourself in order to manifest the pictures of destiny and brilliance that you were giving about yourself. That's what greatness is. Greatness is tapping into what you showed up here to do. What you showed up here to do manifests itself in pictures of destiny, dreams, desires, things that call your name. Those are your pictures of destiny right there. And so you have to be a predictable version of yourself to have the discipline, the focus, and the longevity to meet the pictures of destiny that you're shown about yourself. That's how you begin to manifest these things. And in order to reach the fullness of your brilliance, you have to be a continually predictable man. But just because you give a predictable amount of energy to what you're shown about yourself and you even get to experience these things does not mean you're going to manifest a full picture of what you're supposed to give to this world by virtue of you showing up here. And so you have to be predictable, and every woman that enters your space has to be predictable, or else you're going to be taken off of your course in life. And once again, many a great man throughout history were predictable, but they were upended by the wrong piece of pussy that entered their life that was not predictable. And let me make this more clear, okay? We're going somewhere tonight. When the wrong woman enters your space and she's not predictable, but you've been operating in a predictable manner, everything that you built will be destroyed. You're on borrowed time before the destruction upends everything that your predictability built. And the woman has to be predictable in one capacity, okay, to keep you on your course. The woman has to be predictable because you've been predictable to yourself. You know the energy and effort and fervor and discipline that you're going to give to every endeavor that you have. And that's how you manifest it, right? So a woman who attempts to enter your space has to be predictable. Predictability from a woman means that she's giving you everything that you're giving to her. It means that you have nothing in the back of your mind concerning her and how she's going to move and conduct herself at any given moment. That makes her predictable. And you're only a balanced man can have a continual balanced experience. A balanced man is predictable. He knows what he's going to give to life every day, and he knows what he's going to get in return. That's a predictable man. But a woman who enters your space has to be predictable because you have to know what you're going to get from her anytime you're around her. If a woman is a wild card, that means you're giving her an experience that's not aligned with the experience that she's giving back to you. That means she's unpredictable. She's unpredictable. And any unpredictable woman is an enemy to your greatness. So the women who you allow into your space have to be predictable because you're predictable to yourself. Just because you're predictable to yourself does not mean that you've mastered yourself. the only way to experience the full manifestation of what you were sent here to deliver to this world is to master yourself. When you master yourself, you accept everything that it takes to fulfill every picture of destiny that you've been given about yourself. Life is just catching up to who you showed up here to be. That's what life is. That's fulfillment. Frustration is you constantly battling against yourself. Frustration is you're making strides forward, but then the wrong things are entering your space that are not a match for who you really are. So you're going forwards and you're moving backwards and you're frustrated because internally and spiritually you know that you're supposed to be constantly moving forward. And when you're not predictable, you're just working against yourself. But it's still possible to be predictable and to make the strides and the progress that you're supposed to make in life and have something enter your space that can upend that. That's because you're predictable, but you haven't mastered yourself. When you master yourself, your world is always in balance. When you master yourself, everything in your space is predictable or it cannot remain in your space. So you can have areas of your life that you're extremely productive and elevated in that are predictable, but then you can have other areas of your life that are unpredictable and chaotic. And typically, throughout history, the men who are predictable, who are productive, who have introduced great things to this world, everything is undone by an unpredictable piece of pussy. It's really that simple. You're so great in some areas, and then you falter in others. And since the beginning of mankind, going back to Adam, it was a woman. And this isn't like a chauvinistic message, but typically the serpent destroys everything that you've built through a woman. And it's not like you can't have women in your life. You just have to be able to decipher which women should be in your life. And you have to be predictable to yourself to require a woman to be predictable to you. There's no point in building something great and extravagant that's worthwhile to humanity, making a contribution. There's no use in building that and forfeiting it for something to enter your life that you allow that is not predictable. And I've tried my best up until this point. I hope it's making sense. But I've had women enter my space through words. They've entered my space through words and seeming recognition. They spoke to who I am. Oh, you're so attractive. I normally can't look men in the eye, but you're such a safe space. There's an energy about you. And this is true, but if she's not supposed to be there, who the fuck sent her? And so they'll say things to you, but if you're not secure within yourself, then these words will be flattery that will distract you from who you're supposed to be. But if you know who you are, then a flattery word is nothing more than I'm trying to look for the right word. This is a little deeper tonight. It's a word of confirmation to what you already know about yourself. So it can't take you off track. Satan has destroyed many men because of their own egos. If a woman can speak a flattery word to you, and it's flattery enough for you to be under her spell and have you abandon everything that you built, it's because your ego is greater than the humility that you had to operate in to build the things that are in jeopardy of being destroyed. So I've had women, like I said, oh, you're so this, you're so that, oh, you're beautiful. I mean, women say all kinds of shit. And then, of course, right on cue, they'll offer themselves to you. And I've had this happen. But then, everything that they said about you, they'll begin to move opposite of the recognition that they had of you. Yeah, some women know who you are. Some women know the potential that you have because they were sent by the being that wants to upend everything that you built. Yeah, so some women know. And the serpent is looking to cater to your pride, and that's why they'll speak words of flattery. But flattery only impacts men who are operating in pride. And what does pride do? Pride goes before destruction. How has every man in history who was brilliant, who gave it all up, he gave it up because of pride. And who spoke the flattery word to him? Who catered to his pride? A woman. That's how you have to understand the motive and the intentions of the women who are attempting to enter your space. So yeah, they'll say the right things, but their movements will not be congruent with their proclamations of who they say that they recognize that you are. And so you have to judge every woman that attempts to come into your space. You have to judge her. And you judge her by, are her movements congruent with her words? When a woman's movements are congruent with her words, she's predictable. She's predictable. Meaning she's not going to take you off your course. And you're on a course and you have the symptoms and the manifestations of your course because you staged your course because you were predictable to yourself. You gave it the energy every day. You gave it the effort. Yeah, some days felt harder than others, but you stayed in the game. You have fortitude. You have grit. You have determination. These are the characteristics of the predictable man. That's how you can live an elevated life because you're predictable. You give me the same effort that matches the visions and pictures of destiny that you have for yourself. That is a predictable man. But yet and still throughout history, it's been an unpredictable woman that's upended everything that the predictable man has built for himself. And so you have to look at the movements of the woman and not fall prey to the flattery of the words of the woman. That's how you stay predictable. And the only way to stay predictable is to really master yourself. When you've mastered yourself, you understand what you have to contribute to life to get the things that you want to return, okay? So that's the effort. That's the simplistic version right there. That's when you've mastered yourself. But to stay on the path to your brilliance, you have to suspend your ego. Because when you've mastered yourself, then you're so predictable that anything that attempts to enter your space, you can immediately identify it as predictable or as a detriment to everything that you're building for your life. And so just because, once again, just because you're predictable doesn't mean you've mastered yourself. You've only mastered yourself when you've shored up your greatest weaknesses. And to a man, throughout history and today, his greatest weakness is a lack of discipline. I've experienced it. Women offer themselves to me. Oh, the next day, oh, I'm so invigorated. I got to have this experience with you. You're so special. You're so this. I'm so alive today. And then within the same day, now they're trying to jerk you around. Oh, they're supposed to come over. You know, you all supposed to do something. And all of a sudden, they cancel. They back away. All of a sudden, her movements don't match her words. Who the hell sent her? And so she proclaimed She had a recognition of who you are. She proclaimed she was predictable, but then she showed very quickly that she was unpredictable. And that's the cornerstone of the unpredictable woman. Her movements do not match her words. And when you recognize this woman and you're not deterred by her flattery, then you can call her exactly who she is, an unpredictable woman that is a threat and a detriment to everything that your predictable self has built for your life. You don't keep those women around, because just because you're predictable in one area doesn't necessarily mean that you shored up your weakest areas and you shored up your greatest strengths. There's no use in being predictable if you haven't shored up your greatest weakness. And once again, that's how most men's greatness is upended. It's a piece of pussy. That's not supposed to be there. I'm not going to get too biblical. I'm not opening the Bible tonight. But I just really had to meditate on Solomon, King Solomon, before I made this video. And King Solomon was given more wisdom than any other king in history. King Solomon had kingdoms. He had riches. He had wisdom. And he was given instructions to not know or have sex with women outside of his tribe. But the Bible says that King Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. Maybe it might be inverse. Don't quote me on it. But it says, it says Solomon had many wives. Solomon was given permission to deal with a certain segment of women who were predictable. They were of his like mind and like tribe. So with that being said, he knew how they were going to move, and they were designated for him. And the minute that his appetite was greater than the instructions that he was given, that's when his kingdom began to falter. The Bible says that these women outside of his tribe that he knew that he had sex with began to introduce false gods to him. And when he introduced the false gods into his kingdom divided, and it eventually faltered. It was great. He was predictable until he was no longer predictable. And why was he no longer predictable? Because the wrong women entered his space. And guess who allowed it? He did. He allowed it. He didn't make the full potential of the contribution to mankind that he was designated to make, because he became divided. He had his instructions. He had everything that he wanted, and he went beyond his territory, and he paid a penalty for it. His kingdom was divided. And us, when we're not solid, we can be divided. We can be divided when we are predictable in one area, we're doing things right, but then we haven't mastered ourselves, which means we're doing everything right. Not perfect, but we're keeping the right space to continue to advance in a way that we fulfill our full potential. And it always comes through a woman. It always comes through a woman throughout history. It always comes through a woman. Look at the first man, and I have nothing to say beyond this. Look at the first man, Adam. Adam named woman. When Eve was pulled from his rib, he was asked by God, what will I name her? What will you name her? He said, woe man, because she came from my womb. Adam named woman. Adam had full dominion over the garden, was living a blissful existence, walking with God every day, had his territory, had his potential, was able to name animals. He had dominion. And the very creature that he named was able to enter his space and get him to get away from the predictability of the bliss that he was ordained to live. She introduced the fruit. And he ate the fruit because who did the serpent come to? Eve. He always comes to the weaker vessel. The serpent came to Eve and said, yeah, you were told not to eat the fruit because the fruit is going to make you just as knowledgeable as God. He appealed to her ego. She was told you will surely die if you eat the fruit. But then the serpent said, no, you're not going to surely die. You're going to become just as great. God doesn't want you to eat the fruit because you'll become just as great as he is. So the serpent beguiled her through her own ego. And Adam had everything shored up. He was predictable. And then that woman was charged up with the lie and the deception and convinced him to eat the fruit. And she was unpredictable. And what ensued after he ate the fruit? Chaos. Humanity has suffered because of that one moment, that one act. And that's what I want to get across to you tonight. Like I said, I didn't know which direction this was going to go. But if you refuse to master yourself, you can be predictable, but you won't reach the fullness of everything that represents your full capacity and your full purpose and your full destiny. You have to recognize every woman that you meet, that you desire, or every woman that attempts to enter your space. Does she keep you in congruence with who you are that is responsible for what you've built? And if she keeps you in congruence with that, she's predictable. It's okay. She can remain. She can remain. Because she's not going to take you off of your course. But women who are not predictable, they don't have a full recognition of who you are. And they don't have the right intentions that are going to be responsible for you being able to continue to operate in brilliance. So she has to not just verbally recognize your brilliance, she has to spiritually recognize your brilliance by not coming against the predictability and the habits that you have exercised to build yourself into the man that is appealing. You're only appealing because you're consistent, because you're predictable to yourself. That's what gives you maximum appeal. It's the discipline. It's the results in your life that are a virtue of your discipline. That's what makes you appealing, not just to beautiful women, to the world. But the wrong piece of pussy is going to come in your life and destroy all of that. Why? Because she's unpredictable. And when you're on your path in life, everything that attempts to enter your space is obligated to show you who they are. Every person that attempts to enter your space is obligated to show you who they are. And I'm not going to go too deep into that, but just know the woman who says she has the recognition of who you are, the woman who offers herself to you, if her movements are not congruent with her words, she's not supposed to be there. She's showing you who she is. Many men have suffered. All of these men throughout history, Samson, all of these men throughout history were shown who they were and shown what not to do. And every woman that upended them prematurely showed them exactly who they were, because they convinced the men to do things they knew that they were not supposed to do. Samson was given instructions to never cut his hair. Samson was given instructions to never reveal the source of his strength, which was his hair. And Delilah slowly, through words of flattery, he's laying up with her, he's getting that pussy. Slowly broke him down. She begged him, she tried to trick him into revealing the source of his strength, and he would brush her off. Until one day, he was no longer congruent with himself and the instructions that he was given to maintain his brilliance. He revealed his secret. Went to sleep, woke up, hair was cut. And that was the end of Samson. That was the end of him. Had everything going for him. Solomon had everything going for him. But so many men short-stopped and minimized and cut off their maximum contribution that they have to give to the world, because they allowed an unpredictable woman into their space. Every last one of these women who gave them words of flattery simultaneously showed them why they were there. They were there to destroy. And that's the message that I want to get across to you tonight. When you're predictable, don't let anything into your space that's going to destroy everything that your predictability built for yourself. Every woman is going to show you exactly why she's there. Every woman is obligated to show you why she's there, and she will. You have to pay attention to what you see and not what you hear. Is she moving in congruence with the flattery words that she expressed to you regarding who you are? You can never be consumed with flattery words if a woman is doing nothing but telling you things that you already know about yourself. But if you don't fully know yourself, then you'll be thrown off even as you're making progress through life by flattery words. Your ego will take over before your potential is fulfilled. I have nothing else to say to you, man. This has been Matthew C. Horne, author, motivational speaker, and dating coach. Bring you a video tonight just titled, She Must Be Predictable. It's brought to you by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life, in addition to How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available at my website, www.matthewchorne.com. Get your copies. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and to continue to push me with the algorithm so I can continue to bring you these elevated messages. And if you want me to make a custom video, if there's a particular topic that you want me to speak on, you must make a donation of $50 or more to my PayPal and my Cash App that's in my video description. Leave your topic that you want me to speak on along with your donation. Leave the topic that you want me to speak on in the note feature on PayPal or Cash App, and I will promptly make your video in 24 hours or less and put it on my channel, Matthew C. Horne Dating. If your video is more in-depth, you can just leave a note with your title of what you want me to speak on in PayPal or Cash App. You make a donation of $50 or more, and then you email me at matt@matthewchorne.com. And then I will do an assessment of what you said, and I will put your more in-depth description to work. I'll make it into a video, and it'll be on my channel, Matthew C. Horne Dating, in 24 hours or less. If my video has been of value to you tonight, if your thought process have been elevated, then go ahead and make a donation to my PayPal and my Cash App that's in my video description. I know I brought you all something special tonight, so just donate accordingly. I never tell you what to contribute, but just know that your donations continue to help me to grow, and I'm thankful for every donation, man. You all tremendously have been blessing me, man, and I appreciate it. But just donate according to how you've been impacted, and we'll leave it at that. And if you're in need of coaching, if my voice resonates with you, if you have issues in the dating space that you've been looking to overcome, then and my voice resonates with you, once again, I'm your dating coach. Email me at matt@matthewchorne.com. Leave your name, your phone number, and whatever issue that you're facing in the dating space. And then I will do the assessment and get right back to you with the terms of the coaching. And once you accept the terms, we'll set a date and time. And then that magical breakthrough, revelation, wisdom, that coaching, you'll get it immediately as soon as we set that date and time. And some great breakthroughs have been occurring within my coaching calls, man. I encourage you all to get your coaching call, man. Magical things are happening over here. Also, I am still looking for 5 people that I can mentor over the course of a year. Some people have been getting coaching and they want something more consistent over the duration of a year. I have a year-long mentorship program that I'm looking for 5 individuals. There's still some slots available to allow me to be your dating coach, your mentor, your life coach. This is a full investment, full capacity improvement for your life. If you're interested in that, the dating coaching over the duration of a year, the year-long dating coaching that I'm offering to only 5 individuals, I only have enough bandwidth and time for 5 individuals. If you're interested, then go ahead and email me at matt@matthewchorne.com. Leave your name and your phone number, and just put mentorship in the subject line. And then I'll get back to you and we'll have a discussion. I'll call you. We can have a discussion to see, if this mentorship is a good fit for us both. And lastly, my school community has been growing. Thank you for everyone who's been joining my community. I'm introducing, again, Matthew C. Horne Dating Community. And in this community, I bring you 2 exclusive videos every week, just designated for the community. And also, every Monday, we have a Zoom call where I do a monologue, I introduce a topic, and then you all can ask me questions for an hour. Anything you want to ask me, whether it pertains to the monologue, things you're going through, things you want to understand, breakthroughs you're looking to experience, you have me for an hour. This is exclusive access to me on a monthly basis. If you sign up for my monthly school platform membership, my Matthew C. Horne Dating Community. The information to sign up for that community will be in the video description as well as pinned to the top of the comments, man. I've enjoyed spending some time with you all tonight. I have truly enjoyed this one, man. Just really understand that you must be predictable to yourself so that you can recognize everything that's attempting to enter your space and designate it as detrimental or predictable. The continuance of your brilliance is going to be based on your level of protection of your brilliance. That's the only way to continue to create a brilliant life and to continue to flourish in a brilliant life, is that your atmosphere is always predictable. You have to know yourself, you have to accept yourself, you have to master yourself. You have to accept everything that's necessary for you to stay on your path to brilliance. And if anything attempts to enter your space that's not congruent with the efforts and the results that your brilliance has brought you, you have to dismiss it. I'll see you all soon.